Okay. Hi, gentlemen. Coach Jake White, the floor is open.
Check that first half, or in fact, that first 15 minutes, guys were quick out of the blocks. We were a bit worried that they took their foot off the pedal after halftime.
Ashfaq, it's difficult. I suppose you can't expect a team that's still relatively new together just to get a perfect 80 minutes, And I was very happy the way we played. I mean, as you saw there, I mean, we basically won the game in the first 25, 30 minutes, And I think some of the plays we ran were outstanding. I think the accuracy, the control, the understanding of when to call them. And that's also sometimes, I think for coaches, you want to see players calling the right plays in the right parts of the field. And I thought that was outstanding.
Jake, when Jan Goosen arrived at Loftus Versfeld, you said he's got skills to do things which a lot of other players can't do. Just how good was the way he spotted the space out wide today? And I mean, those long flat passes right in the face of the defence. Obviously your forwards gave great front foot ball, but I mean, just to have that sort of skill was pretty lethal tonight.
Ken, I was when I coached the Brumbies, I coached with Stephen Larkham, and I just saw when Stephen Larkham used to run the attack in the B side against us. And I'm saying Stephen Larkham was a retired player, and I just saw the value of having a 10 that not only sees the space but has the ability to actually put the ball in that space as well, especially when he's so close to the line. So. I've been fortunate enough that I've coached lots of good players, and I've been fortunate enough that I've seen lots of good players come through teams that I've coached, and he's no different. I mean, I think you saw tonight what he's like when he's on song. Sure, the forwards were good, but we didn't get a line out of a scrum for a long time in the game, and when we did, obviously the forwards got on front foot ball, but before that, his game control, his understanding of what to do and how he executed those things was phenomenal.
Jacob, a follow-up on that. I mean, we all know Jan Goosen and a lot to be said about him. But it must be heartening that you also have a scrum half like Zak who can add to that. I mean, between the two of them, they really dictated the game.
Yeah, Jan. I mean, obviously we rate him highly as well. We got Ambrose is out for a while, and he'll hopefully be back in the next couple of weeks, and he's a Springbok. So. We're very fortunate that without Ambrose, and we lost Ivan van Sail, obviously to Saracens, that we've got an understudy that's playing so well and also combining so well, not only with the forwards but with his number 10. So, yeah, I mean, it's nice when you see how they can take control and they're almost on the same wavelength, and they see things together. And as I said, that's part of coaching. You want to make sure that you get that sort of synergy between your 9 and 10.
Jack, also, all this talk of South African rugby being boring, your team has shown that you can mix it up, with forward power, but also wonderful backline play. But of course, the big challenge is the URC and doing it against international teams. I know you still got a Currie Cup final next week, but do you think tonight's performance is a good pretense of what we can expect in the URC?
Yeah, Ashfaq, I'm glad you say that, and I obviously have been pushing that big time with you guys in the media about we don't want to be a one-trick pony. We don't want to be able to play one style, and obviously Bulls, we pride ourselves on our forward pack. We pride ourselves on our scrum and our maul. I mean, that's the part of our DNA of what we have in this union, and we don't want to go too far away from that. But if you can ask different questions on attack, with your backs, or certain plays we have, at the back of lineouts or around lineouts, or there's two plays tonight that I think about. One is Cornel Hendricks' try where we caught the ball over the 15. We could have mauled it, maybe been a bit more conservative and gone for that try. Then we end up scoring a great try by Cornel. And then just before the end of the game, when Jan Hendrik went down the short side, when Jock came, and so why I'm saying that, Ashfaq, it's one of the things that when you play in this competition, you've got to have different I suppose, questions for the defence. And I'm so glad that we're now understanding, that we didn't score there, but the fact that they called it there, and the fact that they had the confidence to do it, and the fact that they understood that's where you do it, is obviously exactly what we want to do. So, Ashfaq, yeah, thank you that that you see that the style is obviously bearing fruits. But I'm hoping that we can continue growing and building on that, because these games that we're going to get post the Currie Cup final is going to be tougher and tougher for the next 6 months.
Jake, congrats on the win. Just to latch onto that, you mentioned now the games are going to get tougher post Currie Cup final, but it must be great to see how the Bulls players pick themselves up after they came back from Europe, that display they put on there, and then just weekly got the confidence back and progressed through the Currie Cup.
Yeah, Leighton, I mean, think about it. We came back, we lost 2 games on that weekend. We lost the final of that Rainbow Cup that we lost to Western Province here. And you can imagine, guys, we hadn't lost for a while, so to lose 2 games on a weekend is obviously not ideal. But I think that you hit the nail on the head. We learned a lot in Benetton. We learned a lot as a group. I think the guys who played against Province here also learned a lot. They learned that the competition is not that easy, even if you play at home. So yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very happy where we are. I'm very happy as a group. I mean, I've said it, and it's not, again, in any way being arrogant, but we relatively new as a group. We've been together for about 1 year and 6 months now. And some of these players, I mean, Johan Goossens, just as to use him an example, has been here for a short while. So has, Zach, who came from Griquas. So Leighton, I think we're growing nicely. I think we are where we want to be. I mean, obviously, we can't be anything better than playing a home final in the Currie Cup, having won it last year. But, I think we also just need to understand that we're going to have to improve a lot in the next couple of years if we want to be, real contenders in all the competitions we play in.
Jake, you spoke a bit earlier in the week about BULvWP. I mean, how good was he tonight? The anticipation on defense and on attack.
Yeah.
He basically destroyed the sting of that midfield of Western Province. Don't you think he's one of the most underrated players in South Africa?
Yeah, Chris. I mean, I as I said to you in the beginning of the week, I don't know him very well, because I've been living overseas for 9 years before that. So, I mean, I saw him obviously playing for the Lions in that really good side they had, but I don't really, I suppose, have much contact with him or have much interest in looking, because I was coaching in other countries, and obviously he wasn't a guy that at that stage was on the radar for playing overseas. So, I mean, now that I've worked with him and I got to know him, and I've seen how he combines and how he talks, and how he actually, he can, he's got, as I said to you in the beginning of the week, Chris, he's got unbelievable soft hand skills. He runs unbelievable lines. He's physical. And then tonight you saw how he can control the defense, So, I mean, it's no doubt. I mean, they obviously did score a couple of tries, and we've got to look at that. But I'm still generally very happy with the way that he controlled everything at 13.
Jake, the set pieces, you got some kind of competition, but you must be quite happy with how that has developed throughout the game. And perhaps naughty question, who do you prefer to play in the final next week?
Yeah, Simon, it is a bit of a naughty question, but I mean, at this point in time, we've got a home final. I think we've got to be good enough to play whoever comes here next week. I think it'll be, it's going to be tough. Maybe it's a repeat of what happened last year. Play the Sharks again, I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, it's, I think, all we can do, Simon, is focus on what we need to do. And we've got a week now, to prepare ourselves for a home final. And the set piece was fantastic. If you consider, that, Jan Hendrik, I speak about him every week, but I mean, he comes on and he's going to grow and learn. He's 20 years old. He's still, him and Eldrick, him and Ludwig that are with us are still good enough or old enough to play under 20 rugby. He could have been playing in Newlands today. So, when I see him growing and I see the forward pack growing around him, then I obviously get excited, because it's not just, and I repeat it, not just about this Saturday. It's about how we grow as a team in the next couple of seasons.
Okay, 2 more questions, please.
Jake, will one day really make a difference at this stage of the season? Does it give you that extra bit of edge when you come next Saturday?
Look, Jan, I don't know if it's there. I think recovery, any time happens, but I think now the job's done. Now we can sit back and we can enjoy a weekend and watch the game tomorrow with interest. And yeah, I mean, it's not just the one day. I think it's the cumulative factor of what's happened in the last sort of 4, 5, 6 weeks for everybody. You know, if you consider, you know, I mean, I looked at it, that province side, that's the 6th game they've had to play in 27 days, you know. So it might not have been, you know, maybe one more day, maybe is significant, but when you play 6 games in 27 days, it's the cumulative effect of having to front up every week in a competition. You know, that's tough. When we look tomorrow, I mean, as I said, I'm quite interested to see how Greek was done. They've rolled teams over. They've beaten, I think, the Sharks in Durban before. So yeah, I mean, it just shows you what a tough competition it is. So another day probably helps us, you know, psychologically as well. Any more questions, guys?
Maybe just to work on your bench and the influence, especially a guy like Jacques du Plessis had from the bench.
Still raw, Chris. I mean, I say that from the point of view that he's a great player and he's tough and he's big and strong, but I think he's still, you know, still learning, you know, he's still learning how we want to play. He's still learning, you know, who he's playing with. I mean, you think about it, you know, it's an understanding of which players will offload, which players will hold on, which players will, you know, which players will cover your inside, which players might be a yard too slow defensively and you need to help them. So, I mean, as he plays more and more, you know, I'm sure he'll get better. But yeah, I mean, it's not just him. I think the bench generally, we've been quite fortunate, Chris, in that we've, since I've been here, I've used our bench basically every single week, you know, and given our bench significant time too. It's not just a question of 4 minutes or 5 minutes. You know, we basically used our bench because I think the more they play together, the more they grow together, the more they experience that pressure. Whether it's pressure of trying to keep teams out, even though we had won, that we knew they were going to run, so we still got to defensively be sharp, or whether it's defensive, whether it's attacking pressure to finish off a move, or whether it's, you know, slowing down the game and getting some game control. I think there's all these lessons, and you don't always want the reserves or the bench only to come on when the game's gone, or you only come on when you haven't won it, or only come on when you're in their half and you're attacking. You know, sometimes it's also nice to expose some of those bench players to the pressure of defending on your try line, or you know, or watching teams that are having to score twice and understanding there's a feel for what you need to get on when you get on the field. So you know, that for me is probably one of our hardest sort of work-ons that I think we need to work on is educating the youngsters that are watching the game off the bench to actually feel part of it and understand what they've got to do when they go on, because it's not always the same.